Chapter 1. Borg of Thrones.
It has been said that sound does not carry in space. This assertion is wrong. Sound waves can move through a vacuum, just at really low frequencies. If the energy is high enough, then anything will vibrate, and this small patch of the outer reaches the Alpha Quadrant was vibrating. Captain Nielsen of the Victory would not have appreciated the physics lesson, however. He was otherwise preoccupied as a large green cube filled his view screen. With his first officer dead and half his ship destroyed, one could say he had at least one pressing engagement. "Report, Lieutenant," he barks tersely.
The lieutenant in question, Otale Zirikwar, was shaking vocally and physically. It was her first post on the bridge, and her predecessor was in a small puddle at her feet. He squished slightly as she squeaked out the report. "There is a hull breach from decks 3 through to 17. Power is failing in the impulse drive, the warp core is offline, and the port nacelle is currently floating past the view screen."
Unfortunately, the captain would never hear more than half of her report, as he was violently ejected from the bridge, along with most of the senior staff.
Otale was spared as the newly installed interior shield array patched up the hole in the deck and reinstated the pressure. There was a momentary feeling of giddiness, suddenly thrust aside as the atmosphere rushed back in. Had she lost consciousness? No time to ponder. She was alone in this funeral pyre, not even the puddle for company. He had become a rather grisly accessory to the port nacelle. Despite her sudden and unexpected promotion to captain, she decided she was having a bad day. Otale surveyed what remained of her new command. The panels and flashing lights glared at her. Her stomach churned. The Victory, in her mind, was purely structural. She had no place of reference for all these buttons and panels outside her own station, which was not really her station anyway. Not that it mattered, she thought. Nothing was online. The intercom mocked her musings as it declared itself to be a working feature. A hail hazily drifted through the one functioning speaker.
After several muted, unintelligible squeaks, Officer Tut managed to get a message through from engineering.
"Repeat, we are reading a breach on the bridge. Is anyone alive up there?"
Otale considered the question carefully. She was wondering if it was worth saying she was, as chances were it was only a temporary condition.
"Repeat, we..."
Otale disregarded the repeated message, slammed her fist on the panel, and declared her non-dead status. "Yeah, I'm here. All the bridge crew are dead, and these Borg weapons have really messed up my hair." She was surprised at her feminine bravado. She noted to herself that she had a grim and non-politically correct sense of humour under pressure, or potentially lack thereof.
"We are reading dead panels throughout the bridge's control systems. We have access to the remaining functions from engineering. We can take over from here."
The officer ploughed through the conversation, ignoring the flippant nature of Otale's speech.
Otale thought for a moment. The ship needed to be in competent hands, but the bridge was, well, the bridge, command center, and she suspected she was ranking officer. "You have the go-ahead, but the orders will come from me."
There was a moment's silence, followed by,
"Very good, sir."
Having put her stamp of authority over her crumbling empire, she surveyed the damage. She had taken control of a wreck. She wasn't good with panels, but she knew the wires and circuits underneath were not up to factory specs. As a matter of fact, her intuition told her that if the Borg stopped now, the ship would probably not be saved. There was one thing left to say. "Give us all you've got left, and we're going to push this ship right up the Borg's arse."
After a second or so, the engineer pushed aside the sudden unpleasant mental image and replied,
"Roger."
He was no fool and had come to the same conclusion. The trouble of actually pushing the wreck into the cube was spared them as a green glow enveloped them, indicating the presence of the dreaded Borg tractor beam.
"If the weapons mess my hair, what would Borg implants do?" she mused to herself, then continuing the thought wryly that the last independent ideas she was having was over feminism in the 24th century. Was this a noble cause? She had just reached the conclusion that these were as good as any last words or thoughts when the beam was interrupted by a black something. She would say it was a Borg cube. It looked Borg. It was cube-ish. The intercom crackled to life again, and Otale thought she needed to write a testimonial to whoever built that system, as it, and it alone, had endured the Borg attack. "We are the Borg," droned through the speaker, followed by an abrupt, semi-mechanical
"Correction. You were the Borg.
Throughout the chaotic battle, Captain Otale had not the time nor the energy to register fear. What would have been terror, had she thought to feel it, was replaced by astonishment. The green glow was gone, replaced now by a purple one. She could not see far past the new ship, as its massive bulk was directly between them and the Borg. The old Borg. She didn't need much of a view, however. She had no sensor readings, but she could see massive fragments of ex-Borg being ejected at near light speed. The fact that the ship's defenses had been overwhelmed with enough energy left over to break relativity was not lost on her. Science was her thing, and a lot of theory was being demonstrated as a reality in the destruction of what was previously an impervious enemy.
The recent 5-word sentence uttered by the newest addition to the Federation's Borg concept bore itself out as artistic, Spartan, and deadly. Former Borg was simply debris flying away from the battle. The intercom had finally failed, but somehow the new vessel was able to communicate. Every surface of the bridge vibrated as an impromptu speaker.
Hold tight, Dorian. We have to deal with the second ship, and that will not be so easy.
Hang on. Second ship?